biblical references with regard to Satan.
That sounds like John. Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? It's not an unreasonable thing, but when you're on live TV and the only thing on the screen is 667, you have to say something.
What are you going to do? What are you going to say? I'm going to say, the freaking machine's broke? Hold on. We'll fix it. No.
Oh, God.
Besides which, neither you nor I are constitutionally capable of passing up a moment like that the universe hands us on a plate. We're just not going to do it. That's too good a gift. We're not going to pass it up.
Because I choose to believe that there are people at home who are watching this right now, making a similar comment to whoever else is in the room. See, that for me was in the top 3 big lessons. Say the thing on camera that you would say to your best friend if you were both home having a beer, watching the very show that you happen to be hosting. What would you say in that moment? And for me, I would have said, oh, look, it's the mark of the neighbor of the beast. Now, to say it on air either means I have a bad judgment, no edit button, or I took a calculated risk because every now and then Munger is pissing off the high dive and attention must be paid.
And attention must be paid. And attention will be paid. You and I were two of a small number, but a number of people who never took the job seriously. It was playtime, gang. It was playtime. And the audience was there to be entertained, to enjoy the moment, and to be a little startled, and to be a little surprised, and to laugh every once in a while, and to be educated now and then. Not with a hammer, but with a gentle spoon. It's what we were about.
A gentle spoon.
A gentle spoon.
Sometimes the guy has to be the little spoon. By the way, for people who don't know you, how tall are you these days?
I'm 6'5". I've lost an inch.
Paul Kelly is an impressive specimen of masculinity. He's an imposing figure, and you're imposing in life, and you were imposing on camera. And is it too personal to wonder how old you might be at this point in your journeys around the sun?
Well, let us say that I am beyond my 70th birthday.
It's unbelievable, man. What are you working on today? What if people are half as fascinated by you as they were the last time? They're going to want to know where they can go get more Paul Kelly in the pick line. Is that even possible now?
It is not right now, but it probably will be. I wrote a book a long time ago, a book called Rules of the Cosmic Road, the 12 rules of how the universe works. And I'm revisiting that, and I may finally publish it. It's pretty much common sense, but I think we need a little common sense.
Well, what is the most important rule of the 12 on the Cosmic Road?
Wow. No one has ever asked me that question.
Well, as a fake journalist, I'm here to ask the hard queries.
Yeah. The most important rule is to know who you are, is to know and enjoy yourself. That's that's the hardest one. Knowledge of things is easy. Knowledge of self is the hardest thing we can do in this life.
Wow. I mean, I never know where we're going to go with this stuff, Paul, but if we're going to talk about an audience, and if we're going to talk about the relationship with the audience, and if we're going to talk about the way the camera bends and shapes that relationship, I wanted to add that for me, talking to the crew at QVC, talking directly to Craig Adler and Tommy Okoneski and Pam Duckworth, talking directly to those producers during the show, talking to the stagehands, Pete Kilcullen, right? Talking to the technical director. That, to me, that was the big lesson for me, and the thing that I was able to take to the next level in Dirty Jobs. Figuring out that if you take out the IFB, which you mentioned, as you're being screamed at by the director, if you take it out quickly and push it right against the microphone on your lapel, then the whole world can hear the director yelling at you.
Yes.
We're always in more control than we think we are. And this business of figuring out who we are. I didn't know you wrote that book. Where is it on Amazon or something?
No, I haven't published it yet.
Get out of here.
I haven't
When are
published
you going to publish? Oh, Paul Kelly, you've got to get this book out. I will do whatever I can to help.
Well, thank you, my friend.
You're welcome. Because, gosh, who said, first and above all things, know thyself?
It was one of the Greeks.
Yeah.
Was
It
it
was either
Socrates?
Plato or Aristotle or Socrates.
I think it was Socrates. Yeah.
He said a lot of heavy stuff.
He did, and he was mostly right. Isn't
it a shame, though, that we didn't figure that out till years after? Whatever happened to him? Was that Hemlock guy?
That was Hemlock. Yeah.
Yeah, they killed him.
Yeah, it happens to pretty much everybody who's wants to dispense wisdom. So.
You'd figure with a brain like that, they should have seen it coming.
Actually, he didn't care. He really didn't care.
Oh, man. Well, look, we've been at this a while. I got nothing but gratitude and deep affection for you. I'm serious about the book. When you decide to do it, come back on here and
Okay.
And we'll talk it through.
I will do that. And I want to thank you for giving me a chance to get my brain working a little bit too, and for giving me an opportunity to say to all the people who may be listening, all the people that I met at QVC, through QVC, and all those years on the road, it was not for nothing. Everyone has left an impression, and I appreciate everything that everyone gave me. So,
out of left field, do you remember a janitor who worked at QVC named Norman?
I do.
Do you remember one afternoon we wound up over in his apartment and you introduced him to me? I knew of him. I saw him around. He was always, emptying the waste baskets.
Yeah.
This guy, he sat there, the three of us in his apartment, and he came out with a binder filled with poetry. And it was amazing poetry. You were blown away by it. I was too young to fully appreciate the complexity of it. But this guy was a poet in real life. His entire identity was rooted in poetry. His anagnorisis, his peripeteia in life, everything was through the dynamic Aristotelian definition of a tragedy. And I had only ever known him as the janitor at QVC. And you introduced me to him, and I don't think much about him. In fact, I haven't thought about him in years. I have no idea what's become of him. But the idea that a brilliant poet is emptying our wastebaskets, there's something in there about knowing yourself.
There's something in there about knowing yourself, and there's something in there about not judging others before you know them, because it's very easy to do.
Lest we be confused with the mark of the neighbor of the beast.
Indeed.
I won't send roses. You know what? I am going to send you roses. Give Chuck the address. You're my favorite guest of all time, with the possible exception of my mother. And I love you.
How is your mother, by the way?
She's great. And, not to stretch this out even further, but she's going to be 84 this year. She's working on her third book. And her first two have been bestsellers. So I can help, Paul, in some small way. But she's agonizing over what to write about. And she's trying to talk about this exact same thing we've just been talking about, the audience. She's been writing all her life. She becomes a best-selling author at 80. And now everybody wants her to write how she did it and what the difference is to write for a couple million people instead of half a dozen. And she's coming to the realization that she might have been having a better time when she was writing for half a dozen.
And you can suggest to her, for me, that there really isn't any difference. There really isn't.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because recently the feedback on this podcast has shown roughly half a dozen people listen to it. So,
and I've paid two of them. So,
and the other four are Chuck.
Exactly. Is that how many personalities he's up to now?
Last time we checked, we got 500,000 people hanging on to every word, and your words are worth remembering. Thank you, Paul Kelly. As for the rest of you, if you're interested in this kind of thing, you can download The Way I Heard It wherever people download books. And if you enjoy it the way it's happening here, I'll be back next week with another guest that I wish I could say will be every bit as memorable as Paul Kelly. But how's that even possible, Paul?
I wouldn't go too far with that. But Michael, thank you so very much. And bless you, my friend, my dear friend.
Bless you back. Adios.
Adios.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm the guest next week.
Oh, you're right. Chuck is back next week for a very special.
Isn't that
The Way I Heard It?
That's just special.